Righty, hey y'all. Sorry I'm a little bit late to get into the stream. I had to take a shower before church, and time got away from me. So, just got out of the shower. We're gonna do a little bit of reading again. Hello. Let me set this over here. So this is going to be chapter 4 out of Jules Verne, 5 Weeks in a Balloon, and I'm just going to get it done real quick. And then I've got some other things that I got to do after this live stream. I got some reading and some writing to do before I go to sleep. And since I was a little bit late today, I figured why not get this over with and then start a second stream after this one is over. And y'all get to see a little bit of my nightly schedule. My night routine, I guess. But we'll do that after this this chapter's over. So, chapter 4 from 5 Weeks in a Balloon. Not very long. It looks like 3 pages. That's cool. Let me readjust this camera lens here for a sec. That looks good. All right. So chapter 4, and again, right at the top, it's got this list of words that'll tell you what's going on. So African explorations, Barth Richardson, Overweg, Verne, Brunrollet, Penny, Andrea, De Bono, Miani, Guillaume, Lejeune, Bruce, Croft, and Rebman, Mason, Rocher, Burton, and Speak. Okay, so it sounds to me like they're going to be talking a lot about those explorers from Africa. So this will be interesting. Let's go ahead and get started. So chapter 4 of 5 Weeks in a Balloon. The aerial line which Dr. Ferguson counted upon following had not been chosen at random. His point of departure had been carefully studied, and it was not without good cause that he had resolved to ascend at the island of Zanzibar. This island, lying near to the eastern coast of Africa, is in the 6th degree of south latitude, that is to say, 430 geographical miles below the equator. From this island, the latest expedition sent by way of the Great Lakes to explore the sources of the Nile had just set out. But it would be well to indicate what explorations Dr. Ferguson hoped to link together. The 2 principal ones were those of Dr. Barth in 1849 and of Lieutenants Burton and Speake in 1858. Dr. Barth is a Hamburger who obtained permission for himself and for his countryman Overweg to join the expedition of the Englishman Richardson. The latter was charged with a mission in the Sudan. The vast region is situated between the 15th and 10th degrees of north latitude. That is to say, that in order to approach it, the explorer must penetrate 1,500 miles into the interior of Africa. Until then, the country in question had been known only through the journeys of Denham, of Clapperton, and of Oudney, made from 1822 to 1824. Richardson, Barth, and Overweg, jealously anxious to push their investigations farther, arrived at Tunis and Tripoli, like their predecessors, and got as far as Mourzouk, the capital of Fezzan. They then abandoned the perpendicular line and made a sharp turn westward toward Ghat, guided with difficulty by the Tuaregs. After 1,000 scenes of pillage, of vexation, and attacks by armed forces, their caravan arrived in October at the vast oasis of Asban. Dr. Barth, separated from his companions, made an excursion to the town of Agades, I don't know how to pronounce that, and rejoined the expedition, which resumed its march on the 12th of December. At length it reached the province of Demergu, There the three travelers parted, and Barth took the road to Kano, where he arrived by dint of perseverance, and after paying considerable tribute. In spite of an intense fever, he quitted the place on the 7th of March, accompanied by a single servant. The principal aim of his journey was to reconnoiter Lake Chad, from which he was still 350 miles distant. He therefore advanced toward the east, and reached the town of Azuricolo in the Bornu country, which was the core of the great Central Empire of Africa. There he heard of the death of Richardson, who had succumbed to fatigue and privation. He next arrived at Kuka, the capital of Bornu, on the borders of the lake. Finally, at the end of 3 weeks, on the 14th of April, 12 months after having quitted Tripoli, he reached the town of Ngornu. We find him again setting forth on the 29th of March, 1851, with Overweg to visit the kingdom of Adamoa. It's a really weird spelling. To the south of the lake, and from there he pushed on as far as the town of Yola, a little below 9 degrees north latitude. This was the extreme southern limit reached by that daring traveler. He returned in the month of August to Kuka. From there he successively traversed the Mandara, Bargimi, and Clanim countries, and reached his extreme limit in the east, the town of Messina, situated at 17 degrees 20 minutes west longitude. On the 25th of November, 1852, after the death of Overweg, his companion, he plunged into the west, visited Sokoto, crossed the Niger, and finally reached Timbuktu, where he had to languish during 8 long months under vexations inflicted upon him by the sheik, and all kinds of ill treatment and wretchedness. But the presence of a Christian in the city could not long be tolerated, and the Foulons threatened to besiege it. The doctor, therefore, left it on the 17th of March, 1854, and fled to the frontier, where he remained for 33 days in the most abject destitution. He then managed to get back to Kano in November, thence to Kuka, where he resumed Denham's route after 4 months' delay. He regained Tripoli toward the close of August 1855, and arrived in London on the 6th of September, the only survivor of his party. Such was the venturesome journey of Dr. Barth. Dr. Ferguson carefully noted the fact that he had stopped at 4 degrees north latitude and 17 degrees west longitude. Now let us see what Lieutenants Burton and Speke accomplished in eastern Africa. The various expeditions that had ascended the Nile could never manage to reach the mysterious source of that river. According to the narrative of the German doctor, Ferdinand Verne, the expedition attempted in 1840 under the auspices of Mehemet Ali stopped at Gondokoro, between the 4th and 5th parallels of north latitude. In 1855, Brun Rollet, a native of Savoy, appointed consul for Sardinia in eastern Sudan, to take the place of Valdi, who had just died, set out from Khartoum, and under the name of Yakub, the merchant, trading in gums and ivory, got as far as Balinia, beyond the 4th degree, but had to return in ill health to Khartoum, where he died in 1857. Neither Dr. Penny, the head of the Egyptian medical service, who in a small steamer penetrated 1 degree beyond Gondokoro, and then came back to die of exhaustion at Khartoum, nor Miani, the Venetian, who turning the cataracts below Gondokoro, reached the 2nd parallel, nor the Maltese trader, and Andrea de Bono, who pushed his journey up the Nile still farther, could work their way beyond the apparently impassable limit. In 1859, M. Guillaume Lejeune, entrusted with a mission by the French government, reached Khartoum by way of the Red Sea and embarked upon the Nile with a retinue of 21 hired men and 20 soldiers. But he could not get past Gondokoro and ran extreme risk of his life among the Negro tribes, who were in full revolt. The expedition, directed by M. D'Esquerec de Latre, I'm probably absolutely destroying that pronunciation, made an equally unsuccessful attempt to reach the famous sources of the Nile. The fatal limit invariably brought every traveler to a halt. In ancient times, the ambassadors of Nero reached the 9th degree of latitude, but in 18 centuries, only from 5 to 6 degrees, or from 300 and 360 geographical miles were gained. Many travelers endeavored to reach the sources of the Nile by taking their point of departure on the eastern coast of Africa. Between 1768 and 1772, the Scotch traveler Bruce set out from Massawa, a port of Abyssinia, which I just learned recently is Nigeria. Ethiopia, not Nigeria. Ethiopia. Traversed the Tiger, visited the ruins of Aksum, saw the sources of the Nile where they did not exist, and obtained no serious result. In 1844, Dr. Croft, an Anglican missionary, founded an establishment at Monbaz on the coast of Zanzibar, and in company with the Reverend Dr. Rebman, discovered 2 mountain ranges 300 miles from the coast. These were the mountains of Kilimanjaro and Kenya, with Messrs. de Heuglin and Thornton have partly scaled so recently. In 1845, Mason, the French explorer, disembarked alone at Bagamoyo, directly opposite to Zanzibar, and got as far as Djela Mora, where the chief caused him to be put to death in the most cruel torment. In 1859, in the month of August, the young traveler Roscher from Hamburg set out with a caravan of Arab merchants, reached Lake Nyassa, and was there assassinated while he slept. Finally, in 1857, Lieutenants Burton and Speke, both officers of the Bengal Army, were sent by the London Geographical Society to explore the great African lakes, and on the 17th of June, they quitted Zanzibar and plunged directly into the west. After 4 months of incredible suffering, their baggage having been pillaged, and their attendants beaten and slain, they arrived at Kaza, a sort of central rendezvous for the traders and caravans. They were in the midst of the country of the moon, and there they collected some precious documents concerning the manners, government, religion, fauna, and flora of the region. They next made for the first of the Great Lakes, the one named Tanganyika, situated between the 3rd and 8th degrees of south latitude. They reached it on the 14th of February, 1857. I don't know why I'm obsessed with 7 all of a sudden. They reached it on the 14th of February, 1858, and visited the various tribes residing on its banks, the most of whom are cannibals. They departed again on the 26th of May, and re-entered Kaza on the 20th of June. There Burton, who was completely worn out, lay ill for several months, during which time Speke made a push to the northward of more than 300 miles, going as far as Lake, oh boy, how do I pronounce this? Ukiryui, which he came in sight of on the 3rd of August, but he could descry only the opening of it at a latitude 2 degrees and 30 minutes. He reached Kaza on his return on the 25th of August, and in company with Burton, again took up the route to Zanzibar. where they arrived in the month of March in the following year. These two daring explorers then re-embarked for England, and the Geographical Society of Paris decreed them its annual prize medal. Dr. Ferguson carefully remarked they had not gone beyond the 2nd degree of south latitude, nor the 29th of east longitude. The problem, therefore, was how to link the explorations of Burton and Speke with those of Dr. Barth, since to do so was to undertake to traverse an extent of more than 12 degrees of territory. That is the end of chapter 4. So, let's see, it looks like I got some comments here. So Duck Emily says hi, and Wagner Rutsch says hi, and Cohen says what's up, man. So hello. Don't know how many of y'all are still watching. It says up here that I've only got 1 viewer, so. And then Rigel says go to bed. Yeah, it is kind of late. Well, I still have a couple things I'd like to do before I go to bed. And since I started so late, I decided to stream kind of like my bedtime routine, I guess you could say. You know, the kind of things that I have to get done before I go to sleep, which is a little bit of reading, a little bit of writing. So I'm going to start another stream. If you'd like to look at that, I'll start it up right after turning this one off. And I've got my journal here and my Bible. And I've got a book up here or over there that I might read. I don't know. We'll see. So, that was weird. There was a bubble in that like hit the top of my mouth really hard, and it felt like there was like some kind of particle of dirt or something in my water. But it wasn't. It was just a bubble. Anyway, thanks for sticking around. This seems to be one of the shorter streams I've done in a while. But I'm going to go ahead and turn this off, and then I'm going to start a new stream, so if you'd like to watch that, go ahead. I'm about to start it right after this one, so if you don't watch it, thanks for watching this one, and y'all have a good night. God bless.